It had to be done, people. It had to be done. The rant had to be done. Because these cocksuckers from the pro side did me wrong. And it's going to come out what they did. Oh yeah, it's going to come out. These pieces of shit who consider Tommy a friend, you know what? You lost me. Okay, I keep hearing that you made all these friends along the way and this and that. But what about the friends you lost because of this bullshit? You don't give a fuck. All right, I'm going to start with the Boston event. Okay? I was invited to that by Tommy. You know why? Out of the blues, I looked at my phone and I got a message from Tommy on Facebook Messenger. I just had started doing YouTube at the time. Like, I was just doing a few videos for my opinions. And right before the event was announced, I made a couple critical videos, and I don't know how it got to Tommy, but one of the cult members must have told Tommy, there's a guy from where you're from, your area, that's been, analyzing it, and he's critical, and better talk to him. So he contacts me about the event, come down, play it for yourself, this, that. All right, so I went. All right. Now, mind you, at the time, DJC, Atari Creep, Turbo Joe, I was subscribed to their channels. I was a fan of their channels before the amico and all that. Okay. Now, I'll remind you when this was. Okay, this was when Atari Creep had a problem with Tony from Geek Getaway, and Generation X Gamer went after Atari Creep. That's when him and Atari Creep were going back and forth. This was that time period. It was also the time period when the physical games were released, like right after that. And it was also, what was another thing that stood out is when Phil, the no swear gamer, came onto the scene and was talking about the release date being, he had been on the scene, but he came back on the scene. And that's when he was talking about the release dates that GameStop had. And that was back then. GameStop's had that date that was supposed to be last week. That they've had that since the event that I went to. So, I know there was something else brewing at the time. There was one other thing that was brewing. It'll come to me. So that's the time period. So, I'll speak of what happened at the event. Some of the things I haven't brought up yet at another video, but right now I just wanted to clear up the fact why TJ Faria, the one who runs my son's calling, I'll call him back. The one who ran the Facebook page. Someone from his group, I was joined to that group on Facebook at the time. That's when the physical games had come out. And that was one of my critical things that I was talking about, is the way those games were released in 4-packs and where you were forced to buy all 8 to get 3 games you wanted, that you wanted to get at the time. So I was in contact with DJC, who had 3 bundles of those, by the way. It was an investment. According to DJC, it was an investment. So anyway, I had reached out to DJC to see if he would sell me 3 of the games that I wanted. And he said, you didn't want to break up the sets because these things are going to be worth a lot of money someday. So I said, do you know anyone that would go halves with me and I could send PayPal? And he said, I said, I'll check the group. So I go on the group and I made a post on the group. I says, if someone wants to split up if they have an extra set and they don't mind splitting it up, I can send you PayPal. I even offered more money. I even offered it friends and family because, I thought, these guys could be trusted, but apparently not. But anyway, some goon from his Facebook group private messaged me when they saw my post. Private messaged me on Messenger, and I still have it on my phone, saying, if you can't afford them, then collect something else. Stop acting like a little girl, which I don't know what he was referring to, because all I had asked is if someone has an extra set and they don't mind selling me 3 games, I am offering more. Or if someone wants to go in on another set, I'm willing to send you the PayPal money first, and then you order them. But I was offering more than the 3 games would have been. So I don't know what he was referring to, but he said something about, about gender, which I don't know how that came up. But and then he says, if you're too poor, and if you're too poor to afford them, then collect something else, and a couple other things that bothered, that obviously bothered me. I mean, I didn't even know this guy, and he messaged me like that. So then I reached out to TJ Faria, who actually had commented on something on that post on his group. And then he reached out to me and says, well, I bought the whole set, and I think it's a good idea to buy the whole set. And then I told him, I said, someone from your group private messaged me a nasty message, right? Next thing you know, I was blocked. I was blocked by him, and I apparently he threw me out of the group for no reason, for just telling him that guy messaged me. So, and then again, that piece of shit, TJ Faria, I had sent him something a year ago out of my own generosity, a book. This was way before all this, the Amico and everything. And then he comes and does that to me. It's like, I don't understand. I guess when you're the better person and finishes last, I guess you're right. Same thing happened with DJC, Rab, and Atari Creek. I brought some stuff with me to the event, and Tommy brought some things with me, some doubles I had, extra things I had. So, I guess my thought process was, I was a big fan of these guys, not Rab, but the other two, Atari Creep and DJC. And, watching their channels. And so, to me, I did it for my own heart because I thought the content that they gave me up to that time was deserving of a gift, because I don't do gifts on on channels, like money gifts. So super chats and all that shit, I don't support that shit. So anyway, So I don't have to go into detail, but I gave Atari Creep a nice little thing. I gave DJC a shirt, and I gave Rab a nice book covering the vintage video games. So, okay, everything was fine. Met these guys, hung out with them. Tommy, I gave him a bocce book because at one point I had messaged him, is there going to be a bocce game in the future? And he's like, oh, sure. What kind of Italian would I be if I don't do a bocce game? Of course, that's, Tommy's reactions. He's going to do it all. He's going to do everything. So I brought him a bocce book from the local area where we're from. A club that we play bocce at. So I brought him a couple books, one on bocce, one on the club, and a pin. And so I brought him that stuff, and he's like, oh, so this is perfect. So all the information's in these books that I would need to make a bocce game. And I'm like, yeah, the diagrams for the bocce alley, all this, yeah. The rules, this, that, right? So he's like, oh, good. So, okay, now, mind you, these guys all knew about my deal with the physical game. So Tommy did bring one game with him, one of those boxed games, and he pulls it out of his bag and says, hey, Benny, is this the one you want? Is this one of the games you wanted? And I'm like, yeah, I think it was Missile Command or something, which I wouldn't want now because it's terrible. But he hands it to me just so I could check it out. So it was the first time I didn't order them. So, yeah, I mean, it was nothing special. And then, he didn't say, here, take it. He didn't really say anything. He just handed it to me to check it out. And then there was a couple other new guys there that wanted to check it out. So I handed it to them. They checked it out, and it got back to Tommy. And he must have threw it back in his bag. But anyway, other things I wanted to mention is at that time, Retro Bro doesn't know this, but I mean, to get those 3 games that I wanted, because I refused to buy all 8 games, just to get the 3 games I wanted. And we all know Intellivision's made mistakes since the beginning. So that was one of them, selling the games like that instead of individually. So I made a listing on eBay because I sell on eBay. So I made a listing on eBay for the other 5 games. I don't remember if I did all. I think individually, and I was trying to sell. I had them listed for $20 each. The other 5 games. I listed them for $20 without having them. I just used pictures from Google of the package, So, and this is when Generation X was starting to list them too, because of that point he wanted to make. It was around that time. So I listed 5 of them at $20 a piece. So obviously, if they sold, I was gonna order the 8-pack and keep the 3 games that I wanted and sell the other 5 to the buyers on eBay. I was going to message him saying, it's going to be a little delay, like Amico's good at. So you won't believe this, but I got contacted on eBay by Retro Bro. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know it was me. I didn't know. He didn't know it was me, but I looked at sent me a message saying, do you know that these are available from Intellivision? So it's like he was checking eBay to see who was listing the games. You know what I'm saying? This is how crazy The pro side is. So anyway, he messages me on eBay. Do you know that these are available from the company? And it's like, I mean, what's your like? It's none of your business. I mean, it's like, why are you contacting a total stranger on eBay about his listings? It's ridiculous. I mean, these guys are bad. I mean, DJC the other day, him and Rab were showing off their the Odyssey. I don't know for what reason that came up. I guess they're bored and they had no Amico stuff to talk about. DJC had the balls to pull out one of the games that I gifted him. Pull it out and say, "Oh, look, they got handles," right? Without even mentioning me, you know, like he got them. You know, that's where, you know, thanks to, you know, whoever. That's just some of the examples of what I know, how selfish these guys are. And then when I still was chatting with them on the chats, on the board, Rab was on it. He never once put, you know, when he's got he never once pulled the book out. Thanks, Punch. You know what I mean? This is great. It's great. He never updated me if he, you know, about the book. If he enjoyed it, if he's been reading it, nothing. These guys, and then DJC, he's just like the Amico company. I sent him a payment for one of his shirts. I don't know, over 2 months ago, and I didn't hear nothing. I mean, in messages, yeah, there's going to be a delay on the shirts. You know, that guy had the galls to say that he didn't have any money to buy him, which is fine. I mean, if you ain't got, but you ain't got the money to buy that. But then, I think it was that next day or the very day, he was sending all these super chats to Mike when they had the new CEO on, and he was on there sending fucking payments, and then and he's got his $500 worth of physical Amico games up on the shelf, 3 sets of them, which cost him about $500, but according to him, they'll be valuable someday. And even after I gave DJC all this stuff, he did offer to send me the shirts for no charge. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Those were gifts. A gift doesn't mean you have to give me something back. I'll pay for the shirt, which I did, but he refunded me. And he said, "Oh, since there's been a delay and I refunded you the money, but I'll send you the shirts." Yeah, okay. I haven't heard anything since. Just like the Amico company. That's the way the cult members are too. Now on top of that, at the event, going back to the event, DJC handed Tommy two or three of his CDs. And Tommy just grabbed them, threw them in his bag, and DJC was trying to tell him something, but Tommy was all hyped up about other things. And you would think DJC would at least have handed me one, because I'm a big fan of your channel. I gave you something. Instead, he gives them to Tommy, and I wonder what Tommy's done with those. probably threw them in a bag, and they're still sitting in there. But again, I don't want the CD. I don't want nothing to do with anything that has to do with association with these guys. I don't want, like I've stated already, I have no. I don't want those physical games no longer. The 3 physical games that I even cared for the artwork were the Evil Knievel, Missile Command, and Moon Patrol. Out of those 3 games that I wanted, the only one that I would even still want now, if, not now because it's not coming out, but would be Moon Patrol, because the other 2 games are terrible. even though the artwork was cool, but the games themselves are awful. And Moon Patrol ain't that great either, but like I said, the games aren't that good and they're getting worse. Did you see what Phil showed you all? The games, the price of the Amico's going up. You know, if it even happens, they're just doing this to try and raise money. So anyway, the price of the Amico's going up, or you get less, and the games are getting worse, as you could see in the cornhole video. And this is to cut costs, if it even happens. They're trying to get out of this bank, this hole they're in by degrading the games that were already not that good, raising the price, which was already high. So I mean, how's this thing even going to happen? There's no way it can happen. I just don't know why they're not just waving the towel and calling it a day. But but see, the thing with Amico from the beginning, they like to buy time. They like buying time. They want this to last forever. They don't want this to go away. You would think, after everything they've been through, you would think they want out of this. And no, they're going to be in quiet time. They want more time. They want to play with the cult more, So anyway, to this day, I really think that, how they consider Tommy a friend. I would step over the edge to say that Tommy hasn't given these guys anything for free. Nothing. Doesn't a friend, if someone's a friend, they'll give you something, right? Besides bullshit, like giving you time and saving your life, and like Atari Creep says, okay, whatever. Some guy in Dunkin' Donuts just saved my life because he made me this coffee. I couldn't live without that coffee today. So he's not my friend, though. Again, the cult is, you're not just going to get into the cult. It's just like when you were in school and you went to the lunchroom and the cult's sitting at the same table and you can't dare to go sit with them because there's one seat left and that's reserved for another cult member that ain't there yet. So that's how it is with the cult. That's why they're called cults. I had reached out to DJC way before all this, even before the Boston event, before everything. When I was just starting to get critical. And, how Geek Getaway, No Swear Gamer, they've had me on their channels. DJC never allowed me to go on his channel. And DJC won't let anyone on his channel that even has any not negativity, but any criticalness, even just a minute criticalness, he won't let you on anyway, unless you're one of them. But they won't bring someone on. And I don't know, for this video, that's about all I wanted to say. But that anger, that rant was all unscripted. That was how I felt about Retro Bro and the pro side and all the bullshit that they're feeding their viewers. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't even see how the viewers of their channels haven't left. I know they still want more right now because it ain't officially over yet. But when this all goes